I think for people listening to you this morning, it's very clear that you acknowledge there's a significant problem with housing in this country. That's very clear. That comes across absolutely clearly. But it's also interesting that you sound almost like, a housing campaigner saying this isn't good enough, that doesn't work over there, yes, the system's broken. When in actual fact, you've been somebody who's been a minister in successive Conservative governments over a period of 14 years, when this situation has got worse and worse and worse. And you even told the Sunday Times in an interview that's been published today, you're worried that if young people don't get the homes they need, they might abandon democracy. Aren't you actually worried if young people don't get the homes they need, they're abandoning the Conservative Party?
No, it's not about party politics. It's about making sure that everyone in this country has a stake in society and that people have a warm, safe and decent home. Let me mention three things very briefly.
No, forgive me. You're speaking to the Sunday Times, you've tried to turn this into an issue of saying, democracy is in jeopardy if we don't do this. You've also just pointed the finger of blame at the opposition. You've been in charge for 14 years. I think some people listening to you this morning might think it's almost shameless to be pointing the finger at others for this.
No, I have mentioned one specific example where we were taking forward proposals. In order for change to be made, we needed the support of Labour. That support was not forthcoming. They need to be held accountable for that, as you're holding me accountable for the last 14 years. And as I mentioned earlier, let's look at the record in context. My approach is always to say we need to do more, we need to do better in every area of government. And I think it's also important that we look at what we have done and ask ourselves, what more can be done in order to do what is required? And it's not just, as Quadio was mentioning earlier, the number of new homes that we need, it's also the quality of homes that we need. So some of the resources that we give to people who provide housing have had to be spent on improving the quality of homes that were built 30, 40, 50 years ago that are now reaching the end of their life. And there are people who are living with damp and mould and horrific conditions. So We've arrived at a moment in history where we need to spend not just on quantity, but on quality as well. And that is an important lesson, because when we were building significant numbers of homes in the 50s and 60s, they were not of the quality required. So that's why I've placed an emphasis on making sure that we improve living conditions as well as delivering more homes.